And we are now live. And so is my cough.
Whoa.
Very much. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to blow your ears out with the cough.
Sorry.
All right. Let's get ready in 3, 2, 1.
Hello? Are you ready? Yes. Then we'll begin.
It's the big 5-0. Yes, we were all over that age, but it's also the 50th show of this little podcast. So, welcome to Monday Morning Catholic episode 50.
People look east, the time is near of the crowning of the
Yes,
year.
people look east because we are still in the Advent season. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Monday Morning Catholic, and we are at episode number 50. Isn't that grand? Yes, we still can't believe we're here, but we're glad because you still want us here, hopefully, and that's a good thing. So, it's Ladies' Day once again, and we're kind of happy for that because Steve just still has many things to do. So, we don't apparently, and we're all here. I'm Joanne Mercier, your host and moderator, and as you can see at the bottom of your screen if you're watching or just listening, we have Linda Reed from St. Thomas in Providence, Rhode Island. Good morning, Linda. How you doing?
Good morning. I am doing fine.
Good. You survived in yet another weekend of Advent?
Yes, and it was amazing because we had more stuff going on than a three-ring circus. But I survived.
And we're going to want to hear all about that later. And then we have Nancy Smith from St. Teresa's and St. Christopher's in Tiverton, Rhode Island. Good morning, Nancy. How you doing?
Good morning, Joanne. Good morning, Linda. Doing okay.
Did you have a three-ring circus as well?
Semi, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Three-ring circus.
Maybe two-ring circus. So.
Okay.
It must have been the second Sunday of Advent brought out the creativity in our presiders and homilists, because it sounds, well, I know just from being at St. Thomas this weekend, we had a few things going on at every Mass, but it's that time of year, you know, and it's real easy to get, oh, let's throw this in, let's throw this in, let's throw this in, or we forget that it's Advent and, ooh, we have to do that.
Yeah.
Scheduled it. Oops.
Yep.
So it's one of those things. But here we are again, those of us here from Monday Morning Catholic, and we come every week to look back at the previous weekend's liturgies and try to make some sense of all that we see here, and definitely smelling at St. Thomas at least.
Yep.
And sometimes too much smell or too much smoke, and people cough just because it's smoking. But I will give my pastor this morning 200 points just for pulling off two different liturgies.
Yes.
On the same Sunday of Advent.
Exactly.
Yes.
And actually, he pulled off a third when you weren't there.
Well, hey, I was working on Saturday, so
You got to give him 300 points.
all right, I'll give him an extra.
Absolutely, give him up.
I'll give him 100 points because Linda has asked for that. But remember,
Yes.
the points don't matter anyway. So
That's right.
So grab your cup of whatever, and I'm still on the mend. Thank you. I have a voice this week. So
Yay.
that's a wonderful thing for most people who don't know me. People who know me, they wish I probably still didn't have my voice. But I have my cup of water, and let's
Is it proper Lenten color?
Yes.
well, in whatever color is going on here because it's Advent.
I meant
That's
Advent.
right.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Or which color of purple?
Maybe it is 3-week circus. 3-week
Ah.
circus. Oh.
God.
You'll have to excuse me. I will cough every once in a while, especially when I laugh. No, I had a discussion this week with somebody over what is the color of Advent.
Oh, yes.
It's really difficult when you're in a new place and you're saying, well, it's more bluer hues
Yes.
of
Purple.
purple. And it's like, no, but I thought it was the more lighter purple. And it's
I know. Somebody was saying that too on Facebook. They were saying that it's violet. It should be violet for Advent and purple for Lent. And I'm thinking just the opposite.
No, it's the opposite.
I want the blues. I want the purple to be more to the blue
Right.
for Advent, and the purple to be more to the purple for Lent.
Exactly. But it's kind of hard because we're still under the banner of Lent. Advent is a penitential season.
Yeah.
And so that means purple, violet, whatever. Where Advent isn't so much penitential as it is hopeful expectation.
Yes.
And that was sort of...
there's a penitential element, but that's not all there is.
No, because you're dealing with the second coming and the remembrance of the first. So, and the waiting period that happens, and it's, some people say, oh, that's just that newfangled theology. And it isn't. It's always been there, but it was distinguished more after Vatican II.
Right.
After theologians started talking more about it and saying, well, it isn't really the same.
What is the character of Advent?
Yeah, what is the character? So that's why it's kind of funny. What do you use for color? And it's like, yeah. Well, the third Sunday is pink. So that's all you can.
Coming up, pink.
Yep, next week we'll have the third Sunday. Today, however, if you are listening to us on December 8th, you should be getting your little butts to church.
Yes.
It is the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. It is a holy day of obligation.
It is.
And it is on Monday, but it is still a holy day of obligation because...
Because. All right, here's the deal. Long time ago in a galaxy far away, the bishops decided, because of the priest shortage, that holy days of obligations falling on Saturdays and Mondays we'd celebrate the feast, but release everybody from the obligation. Okay,
but
so
we still have a holy day of obligation today on Monday. Why is that?
We do, because the Immaculate Conception happens to be the patronal saint of the United States. So no matter when she falls,
we fall with her.
So it's a holy day of obligation.
Yeah.
Yep. Some people don't understand that, so I just wanted you to...
Well, it does get confusing.
Absolutely it does.
All I said in my work parish was, call the archdiocese.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's a feast. It's a holy day. But call the archdiocese to make sure. And they went, oh yeah. And I went, yeah.
Yeah.
And the only day it will not be will be when it lands on Sunday, when the Advent Sunday will trump
supersede it,
that day.
As it did last year.
It did last year, yeah.
But the next day, they celebrated the feast of the
not the obligation.
Yeah,
but there was still no obligation.
Correct, yes.
There was no obligation.
It's like, all right, everybody needs to be a liturgical scholar in order to figure this out.
Yep, and if you can remember all of that, you can get your master's degree too.
Yes.
In theology. So, there you go.
Is that all it takes?
Sometimes I think so.
You have to untie the conundrum of the holy days.
And you have to be able to be really good with candle wax and incense. Later.
Later, yes.
I always said that was my, candle wax and banners. You two can get your master's degree.
Candle wax and charcoals.
Yeah, that too.
There you go. That's a special class of extra credit class.
Yep, and we will talk more about that in our final segment today. But in our first one, we do have feedback.
Yay!
So we're going to find out how it looks like on somebody's part of the world. And it's our friend Bernadette from Lakeville, Massachusetts. Now, okay, I work with Bernadette, but she is very, very, she watches the show. She's got half my parish watching the show or listening to it, I swear. And so if she's got feedback, I'm taking it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So she is talking about now last week, the first Sunday, and you need to understand, at our parish in Lakeville, Saints Martha and Mary, because we are part of a collaborative, the Cranberry Catholic Collaborative, we have 2 priests in residence, the pastor and associate, but we also have a plethora of what I call rent-a-priest.
Yeah, okay.
Are basically retired gentlemen who are willing to come and fill in the various other masses, because another piece of trivia, these guys are really only supposed to be doing 2 masses a weekend.
Yeah.
If they have to. Okay? Now, when you have 3 masses at 3 different parishes on a weekend.
Yep.
Actually, Sacred Heart and Sacred Heart Middleborough and St. Martha Mary Lakeville have 3. Right? And St. Rose of Lima in Rochester has 2. But you're still, if you got 2 guys, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So we have a plethora of brethren who come and help to fill in, and we would be nowhere. We would be so nowhere without them.
Yeah.
So this one is Father Kreml. That's his real name. And Father Kreml is a wonderfully gregarious presider. So I'll set you up that much and say he's really gregarious. He's really into the whole thing. So he always starts with a joke, sort of like our deacon.
Our deacon, yes.
And she says he was determined to make sure that we watch for Jesus. Advent is a time to remember Jesus' first coming, his birth. It is a time for waiting and watching for Jesus' second coming. And he explained about the Advent wreath, and which is good. Not a lot of, some guys take for granted that the Advent wreath needs no explanation.
Yeah.
I've seen it for so many years. Well, there are still some people who have no idea what the thing does.
Yeah.
So it's always good to talk about it, and that Advent is a time for deeper spiritual renewal. Suggested 1, letting go of selfish inclinations; 2, an invitation to perform acts of selflessness; and 3, receiving the sacrament of reconciliation. Now there's one for you. It's a time to go to reconciliation, folks. He said that Advent is a sacred time, a time to spend with Jesus. He surmised that Mary probably spent her time in peacefulness and prayerfulness, waiting for Jesus to be born. Okay, ladies, you've had babies. I haven't. So
yeah, that's the last thing you do is be peaceful while you're pregnant.
Well, okay, and Nancy just if you have to see the look on Nancy's face, like, huh?
Yeah.
What?
It's a nice time of waiting, but there's not a lot of peace there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. See, I wouldn't know. So that's why I'm deferring to those who have. And then he switched gears a little. And in our current culture, we use the same word watch, but it only means to watch for great deals. Shopping opportunities. Word madness. He used the words madness and frenzy to describe before Christmas, which is true.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Anxiety and depression during the Christmas season. All of this in the name of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about just the family dynamics of Christmas time. Need I say more?
Yeah.
This anxiety of,
everybody will have their own thoughts when you mention family dynamics, so.
Yep. So just hold on to that for a few minutes. Yeah. He explained that there are 12 days of Christmas, from Christmas to Epiphany, not the 12 days before Christmas.
Yeah.
Before Christmas is the season of Advent.
Yes.
So he was really hammering home.
Yeah.
And then he went into the first reading, having wandered from God's way. For those who wait for God, they will see awesome deeds. He asked us, am I waiting for Jesus or Santa?
Mm-hmm.
Waiting. The second reading, not lacking in any spiritual gift when waiting for Jesus Christ. We are seduced into getting more, bigger, better, but not necessary. That's true. It used to be Christmas, and I remember Christmas in my house when I was younger. It was always a matter of need, not a matter
of underwear.
Yeah. Now if you give new underwear, it's considered gauche.
Yeah. We always got I have a sister and a brother, and we always got a box every Christmas with new underwear and socks.
You know, sometimes
with
it's
your other
it's not just what you want; it's what you need, and you know.
That's what we needed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. And then on to the third, let's see, he asked 3 questions to help us focus during the season of Advent. 1, how does Jesus want to celebrate his birth?
Hmm.
Now, that was brought up a couple of times by people, so must be a new Francis effect thing. You know, how would Jesus want us to celebrate his birthday?
Yeah.
Okay. 2, how will we prepare ourselves spiritually for his coming? Yeah, we can get the house decorated and all that but are we forgetting about the spiritual end? And 3, what gift might Jesus want from us?
Hmm.
He said when you go to a birthday party, you bring a gift for the birthday person, not for yourself.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. We should be giving gifts to others, not looking for ourselves. Which that's a tough one because
that's a tough one. Yes.
A lot of performance anxiety at this time of year. It's like, oh, I better have a bunch of presents for people.
Yeah.
And if you ever had the presents in the closet for those in case you forgot?
Yes.
I have.
Yes. I always have a few backup things from Christmas tree shop.
There you go. Just in case. Just in case. So she says Father Kreml gave us a great deal to think about.
Yes.
And finally, she did put this on Facebook, and I didn't get time to address it last week, but so she wrote it again just in case I'd missed it. We had mentioned on a podcast that you shouldn't take notes, and it sounds like it's not allowed to or would be inappropriate. However, I can tell you that I take notes during the homily every single week at church, except when I'm lecturing, because I'm actually sitting on the altar.
And that was my only comment is I'm up front.
Yeah.
So if I was in the back like Stephen or something like that, or had something to hide behind, I would certainly do that.
Right. She said, for me, it's the way that I can concentrate. And I will tell you that is very true. She said, if I have to try and sit and listen, my mind wanders in 18 million different directions. Squirrel.
Yes.
I get that. Okay. But if I'm taking notes, then I have to listen to what is being said so I can write it down. I also encourage others to take notes. I've suggested to parents of kids who have difficulty sitting still to take note. Now, she is a special ed teacher by trade.
There you go. Makes sense.
Right. She understands this. She said if they're too young, they can draw a picture of what is being said or what they see. She said, my opinion is that we should be more open to differences people have in listening and learning. We should encourage people to do what works for them as long as it isn't disruptive to others.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I totally agree with her. The only thing I say is that it's very hard because people, for the right reasons, people are thinking that other people are just being, not respectful.
Yeah,
we're not paying attention. We're writing a letter to Santa Claus or something instead of paying attention.
She's talking about sitting in the congregation.
Right.
I mean, we're up there on the altar. We're in the sanctuary. It's
right. Exactly.
It may be a distraction to others for us to do that.
You're right. If we're in that place, we shouldn't be doing it. And she's saying she's not doing it up there either. But even sitting in the pew, it's been I've had people look at me if I've got my phone out or whatever, and I get a little self-conscious, but I shouldn't.
Yeah, well, it's true. It's true because of the phone thing, because of kids who are sitting there playing,
Because the phone, as you just said, has many uses, and you can use it to take your notes, but you can also use it to text somebody, to do things that you shouldn't be doing at that time, and that's what people perceive.
My phone. If you look at my phone, I don't know if you're going to be able to see on here. Those of you who can see, if you're looking just at the front of my phone.
Yeah, a few apps.
Very tough to see. I have quite a few apps, but one of the ones that stands out is Divine Office.
Uh-huh.
I have that right up front. If I switch to the next page, I have not only Catholic TV, but I have a whole section of Catholic apps, from the Confession app to 2 different Bibles, to Allison's Words with Jesus, to just about Word on Fire is on here.
And I have iMissal, which is a great thing with the readings.
Yep, that's what I use to do the show is iMissile. So it's like it's all here, and I'm not just being, just playing Angry Birds or something.
Right, right.
I would not be playing Angry Birds during Mass. I'd be playing Fruit Ninja, if anything. Seriously.
Has she ever showed you that, Linda? Jeez.
Fruit Ninja?
Fruit Ninja.
It's really, I feel, how you get your pent-up
Aggressions out?
aggressions,
I
yeah.
get aggression out without killing birds. You just,
Okay.
just mangle fruit.
Fruit Ninja.
It's perfectly fine. But no, I understand I think people just need to be a little bit more open now, because even with iPads, they can have the entire missile in them, which I have it on mine.
I have it on mine. I swear by it.
Yeah. So you can't judge a book by the cover of its iPad.
That's right. You can't judge a phone by its cover.
Right. You can't. Well, thank you, Bernadette, for your last word on last week's word. And, of course, it's shameless plug time, where we get to tell you if you want to be included in all of this, because that was the only feedback we got last week. Surprise, surprise, surprise. After I went on a little bit of a tirade. But if you want to tell us about this past week or something happened in your parish that you'd love to share, something new, something different, something funny. We do take the funny, because we Catholics like to have fun. Please drop us an email at mondaymorningcatholic@gmail.com. You can leave it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Monday Morning Catholic. You can use the comment box on mondaymorningcatholic.net, which hopefully over Christmas will get an overhaul, because I have a new template I'd like to put on there.
Oh.
Or
But here's my number, so call me maybe.
you can call us on the feedback line, 774-955-0659. You can call us there. Doesn't matter which way, we love to hear from you. And that, again, it helps us here understand where you're coming from, maybe what you want to hear down the road. And don't think if it's been a few weeks you can't bring it back up again, because believe me, we bring up stuff all the time.
Yeah.
We do.
Yes, we do. All right, so let's get on to the...
Do you hear what I hear?
What we're all here for. Do you hear what I hear? Second Sunday of Advent. All readings were the same, because Advent trumps everything.
Yeah.
So you're not changing readings on these weekends.
No.
And, of course, we began with Isaiah 40, the infamous "A voice cries out in the wilderness, comfort ye my people," and every motif from the Messiah I could think of at that
I was going to say that's Handel's source book. Was the
Isaiah 40 was
Isaiah 40, yes.
the first part of Handel's Messiah.
Yes. That's his
all
source
coming-
book.
Yes, exactly. There were at least three. And we
Yeah.
comfort ye my people. A voice cries out, like a shepherd.
Yes.
The only thing was missing was refined.
That's from a different place. That's from Malachi.
Ouch. We're gonna have the dog is now barking. I apologize. I had her up here with me.
Okay. Hi, doggy.
Hey, Fox.
Never barks. Here's the thing. I have a dog that whines rather than barks. Today, he's decided to bark.
She wants mommy.
Laugh at all, because if you don't, it just gets worse.
Yeah.
So, anyway, moving right along, Psalm 85 was the common psalm for the day, although I know a lot of people are doing seasonal psalms.
Yes.
Common psalm was 85. Lord, let us see your kindness and grant us your salvation. Now, if you're using Haugen's Lord, make us turn to you, the fun part about that piece is that it has the verses for all of the other Sundays, just the same refrain, which is one of the things I love about
It's really nice, yes.
Yes. So if you want to put that on your list of things to do for the next B cycle, then Haugen's Lord, make us turn to you with all of these lovely verses, because that's what I would do. I would use the first set for the first Sunday, second set for the second Sunday, third set for the third Sunday, and then go back to the first set for the fourth Sunday.
Mm.
And it worked. So That's
Well,
all.
actually, 85 works beautifully for the B cycle of
Right.
to do it as a seasonal psalm.
Yes.
I don't do a seasonal psalm every year for Advent,
Mhm.
but for the B cycle, 85 works.
Right. And what are you doing a seasonal, Nance, or no?
25 sober.
That's the other seasonal, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's the other common psalm.
Right.
25 and 85.
Right. Exactly. We went into 2 Peter.
Yes.
One you don't hear from very often. 2 Peter 3.
And he had a lot to say.
Yes, he did.
Very long for a second reading.
It was. And usually Paul's a little bit shorter, but I guess they like this one. And I love the verse, with the Lord a day is like 1,000
years. Yeah.
1,000 years like a day.
I've had days like that.
Oh. I've had years like that. Okay, I've had years like
Day is like 1,000 years. Oh my, yes.
that.
It's only 8 a.m. Are you kidding?
Day ever going to be over? Yeah.
07. No.
I don't think that's what Peter meant, but anyway.
But it's that timelessness of God, where God is above space and time. So
And we're going to get a new heavens and a new earth. Ooh.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, gee. And then Mark 1, the beginning of the Gospel of Mark.
Yes.
The beginning of the Gospel. And I have to say, in listening to Father Barron this week, if you want an entire treatise on, have I got that right? Yeah. You want an entire thesis.
Theses or treatise, one or the other.
I think I was going for treatise. If you wanted it, but I'll do thesis because it really is that 15 minutes of that academic / theological minutia of one verse.
Yeah.
And took it apart word by word. So if you like that kind of stuff, you need to listen to Father Barron's.
And if you are more musical, you need to go out and buy Marty Haugen's CD of the Song of Mark.
There you go.
Because that was running through my head every time I heard the gospel. Here begins the good news.
Yep.
It was running through my head through the whole thing.
It wasn't just going through your head because half the ensemble was also singing.
Yes.
Yes, right. And I was
Yes.
hearing that as they were getting together. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right, because you guys did Song of Mark on the
We
own
did it three times. We did it.
Nice.
And we have the music very deeply ingrained, but it's a wonderful thing, especially as we're entering the year of Mark.
Yeah.
You'll find many pieces of music in there for your listening pleasure.
So we're into this is Marty Haugen mood this
Yes, evidently.
week. Excuse me, that's going to happen a few times. I apologize.
Okay.
But I was trying to look past that first verse to talk about the one mightier than I is coming after me.
Yes.
Yes. Because John the Baptist was the setup for the Messiah.
Exactly.
He wasn't the Messiah. Some people wanted him to be the Messiah, but he wasn't. So he's like the guy who comes beforehand. He's the warm-up act.
He's the warm-up act. That's right.
He's the warm-up act at a concert.
Yeah.
He's important, but he's not what everybody's there to see. Sort of like my entire ministry.
Yo.
There's that little... Anyway, I hear you two have great homilies, so I'm going to put it in your hands while I cough softly off microphone.
Well, I'll start off.
You lead off, Nancy.
You've talked a couple of times about some of the things that were mentioned at the homily that I heard, and one of them being the symbols of Advent, from the Advent wreath to the colors to the music to any other decor environment that might be in the sanctuary, and the church for that matter, that will denote that we are in the Advent season. And so he was talking about those pieces as little bit of an instructional piece, like letting people know we don't take for granted that everybody knows what we're talking about sometimes. And then he got a little silly but poignant after we got going and said, but I have another symbol for Advent. And he has the altar server bring out a big orange construction cone. And
What?
a big
All right.
orange construction cone. And
The
he
state flower.
no, he was really very good. He says, you know, this past week, as you all possibly know, I was in down in Florida with some seminary friends from seminary, and he said at one point we wanted to we hopped in the car to go further south where it was a little warmer, and he says we hit a bundle of construction. So all you're seeing is these construction cones, and now you're forced. You have no option. You are forced to slow down, if not stop dead in your tracks.
Yeah.
And so that's where he started. And he said, you know, we have to slow down and look at, he said, no, we're not in Lent. This is not a penitential season. However, Advent is a good time to sit and do some reflection and slow down. And he said, and that's when he swung in the idea of penance, just what you were saying a few moments ago. And he said, we might hate construction, and we all do. We hate to be inconvenienced. We hate all of that. He says, but the final result of all of that is usually always a smoother road, a new bridge, a this or that, whatever the construction is about. He said, there's always good positive results on the other side. He said, we need to see that, and we need to know that. And he says, that's what penance will do for us. The sacrament of penance will do for us. He says, So he says to the altar server, she brought the next symbol out, and he had one of these big signs that had two words, one on each side, and one was the slow down that you always see at construction sites, and he brought that, and then the other one was stop. And he spoke well to them about what you can gain by this season of hopefulness, of anticipation, in slowing down, in stopping if need be, and putting yourself under construction, whatever that might be, looking at penance as your final piece, and hitting smooth roads as Christmas comes. And it was really, people related well, and that's what needs to happen. You know, you can get up there and you can throw all of these words out as much as you want, but if you don't do it in a way that the folks can relate, it's right over their heads. And he had them. And he took the opportunity to, I'm sure every parish has a small group of people who, after they receive communion, they're right out the door. And so it's, he says, he had started his construction piece. He said, what really makes me angry is construction. That's how he started. And so then he finishes that piece, and he says, and another thing that really makes me angry is when I see these folks segueing out. He says, I'm not pointing fingers. but he says, you've come here to receive Christ, to listen to his word and all of that, and in a couple of weeks we're going to be celebrating the birth, and we can't manage to go back to the pew and for a few minutes say, thank you, Jesus. We can't manage to do something as simple as that. He said, I ask you to consider it. He said, he says, remember, that makes me angry. And you know, he usually stays for a good amount of the song. He stayed for about 2/3 of it and then left. And to my view, and I've got a pretty good advantage point. Most of the people who do leave early are visually right in front of me.
Right.
I didn't see anybody leave. I don't think anybody would have dared after that.
Really.
So it was really, the whole thing was well done. He said something that he wanted to say. He felt he needed to say, and a few people that I spoke with after, everyone was saying, well done.
Good.
Well done. So,
you know, from experience, that's something that has needed to be said over there.
It is, and they have said it over the past. I remember when Deacon was still there, not our current deacon, the deacon that retired before him, he gave a whole homily, and what he included in that addressing the people who leave early was also our attire.
Yeah.
How do we present ourselves?
There's another hot button, you know.
And, you know, so it has been said before, and I think they got complacent in what they do, and oh, Deacon's not here anymore, and excuse me, I'm going to head out the door, and so it needed to be said again. So we'll see how long it lasts.
Well, that's it.
We'll see. Yeah.
It'll last for a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so his homily in essence brought the symbols of Advent and explained a little bit about the symbols and looking at what we as the church can do for ourselves, for our growth and that type of thing. So I thought that was
Now that was
a good piece.
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah.
I think anytime you can use visual aids.
He had the place laughing, but laughing with being able to relate.
Yes.
And it wasn't laughing because they would joke so much as just being able to relate.
Yes. Because who hasn't seen those orange cones?
Exactly.
Oh, those things.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Jeez.
Well, that's a good way to use what we see every day and try to get people to, stop and think about it in a whole other way. Good for him.
Yes.
And at St. Thomas's.
At St. Thomas's, we had, well, first of all, I have to explain about the three-ring circus because
True. This is true.
at the 4 o'clock Mass, we had the rite of entrance for the RCIA.
Oh, cool.
The lovely rite of acceptance, which is usually done on the first Sunday, thank God, was done on the second Sunday.
Yes, because there's just too darn much going on the first Sunday of Advent.
Mm-hmm.
So, because of the work schedules of the 2 catechumens and the candidate, we did it at the 4 instead of at the 10:30. So that was one thing that was occurring at the 4 o'clock Mass. At 8:30, Mass Mass as usual. The entrance rite was the entrance rite and nothing else. At the 10:30, we had an infant baptism. So,
good grief.
That's what I mean.
yeah. So we had a bunch of things, and so this is kind of what our pastor did to kind of encompass all these things. Okay, so in the beginning he says that it's interesting that you hear the phrase at the beginning of the Gospel of Mark. We are beginning this story, and the first person that we meet is John the Baptist, the voice crying in the wilderness. John, whose dress and eating habits are rather unique, to put it mildly, and he talked about John's locusts and wild honey, and the fact that people might want to eat wild honey, but not so much locusts.
Yes.
Yes, and that he is really the person of Advent par excellence. His role is to prepare the way of the Lord, to challenge people to a baptism of repentance and conversion. And then he took off on the word conversion, that it's not just a one-time thing. That's what Advent is all about. He said, a process of conversion, daily, turning away from sin and turning back to God. And he said, at times we know that we do not do what St. Peter says in our second reading. He says, we do not always conduct ourselves in holiness and devotion, and we don't. We do not always live out our baptism. And then he spoke about, in our liturgy, either today or yesterday, we had 2 young men, our 2 catechumens, Paul and Devin, who are seeking out the sacrament of baptism to remind us once again how we need to be constantly reminded that by our baptism we're called to be people of conversion, people converting to the light. And that Advent is not only a penitential season or a season of conversion, but it's a season of hope and joy. Sounds like we got a lot of the same kinds of things going on here. Yeah. Because we prepare to celebrate the coming of Christ into the world while also awaiting his return in glory. And John the Baptist, he said it best, I baptize you with water, he will baptize you with the Holy Spirit, because Christ comes to earth to save us from our sins, something we could not do on our own. Why don't we turn more to God and ask for His help? God does not want to be put in a box, only to be called on when needed.
Yes, I put God in a box.
God in a box. You know, we need Him. We open the lid. We take Him out. Oh, please help. And then when we're done, we put Him back in the box and forget about Him. Yeah, yes. Rather, God wants us to invite Him into all the areas of our lives, not only where we need prayers, but in the joys and in the good times.
Mm-hmm.
If we listen to the gospel, something about John's words attracted people. He said, Mark used a little bit of hyperbole, saying that the whole Judean countryside and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem came out to hear John. Maybe not every single person, but it also gave an indication that many of these people needed God in their lives. And so Advent being a season not only of conversion but of preparation, to allow the power of God's mercy and grace to guide our lives, and we need to say repeatedly, O come, Emmanuel.
Very good.
Nice.
That's how he ended.
I heard it twice. There were some variations.
Yes. There are always variations depending on his audience.
and on top of the fact that the daily Advent reflection from Father Barron was that whole beginning of the.
Yes.
So
yes.
he felt when he went into it. I said to Linda, I said, well, there was what I was going to talk about on the podcast. Oh well.
Well, it was a good place to start. You know, that pointed out that it was here's the very beginning, and then my grandson who is fast becoming a scripture scholar like his grandpa and his father, is sitting back there, and he goes, and we know that we're hearing the beginning of Mark, and that Mark was the very first gospel. I say, yeah, okay. He's very into these things.
Hi, George. I think he's got it.
Yes.
Good for him.
Very into these
things.
It
seems that it's a lot about symbols this week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the symbols. I will not go into a parody of All About the Bass.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But it's all about symbols, and I think symbols get lost on our people anymore.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
which is why sometimes it's as simple as a couple of lines pointing things out. Oh yeah, I didn't even realize that the banners were purple now, or white or green or whatever.
Well, it's kind of hard to miss our Advent wreath.
Yeah, like what do they? Yeah, well, that's because the Advent wreath's right above the altar.
It's a flying saucer.
We have a picture of it, by the way. Someone asked for a picture of that.
I know, and doggone, don't you know, I forgot to take the picture again.
Oh.
I'll try and remember. I'm going back tomorrow morning. I'm going back later this morning for Mass with the school.
We're sorry. We will get that picture up on the Facebook page. If not,
our suspended Advent wreath.
Yeah.
Well, they have one at St. Bernard's here in Estonia, so only it's not over the altar. It's more over the presider's chair area.
Ah, okay.
And I did have to look for it. But now
this is big.
That was the first time I saw it, and I think now they put it to the head of the main aisle.
This is about 3 feet across.
Yeah,
It's suspended from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the pastor's always worrying that it's going to let go.
It's going to land on his head. Yeah.
You know, that won't happen.
No. Our deacon takes very good care of the rope.
Good. But I think it's all about the symbols, and there are so many of them that aren't familiar to people anymore. That's why your Pastor Nancy using something that's more familiar to people may get them to clue in a little bit.
Mm.
But the locust and wild honey thing, I'm sure if we did a theological digging on that one, we would figure out what the symbolism of locust and wild honey is.
Basically, I don't know about symbolism. Basically, I think it was mentioned that was his diet because he was probably fasting most of the time.
Yeah, but there's got to be a reason why that and the camel's hair, the coat of camel's hair, because our pastor did say this morning, I don't think I'd be wanting to wear that in a desert.
No.
But I don't.
Particularly, have you ever been near enough to a camel to smell it?
Well, that's more what I was thinking of. That's more of what I was thinking of rather than the warmth of it. I was thinking of wearing something that's so odious.
Odious, yes.
Okay.
Camels do not smell good.
Right. That you wouldn't want to get near this guy, let alone let him baptize you. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's wearing that thing in the water, and it's going to be.
Ooh, yeah.
That's what I mean. So there is a lot of symbolism going on, but because we are Westerners who have no clue what this is, we're sort of lost. We're sort of lost in translation. Like, what does it mean to us? So when you can use something like a cone that we're all familiar with.
Yes.
Or stop signs or any other kind of thing like that, then I think it kind of brings it home a little bit more for us. Because not just explaining the biblical symbols helps us. Because it's still like, oh, okay. Because I know young kids just shrug that off.
Yeah, yeah.
You can explain it to them, they go, okay.
And in fairness to him, I have to say this isn't his normal shtick, if you will. He's not always bringing in props, because some people will say, "Oh, the props. He needs props." But
I got one that uses props, but
but this isn't the norm for him either. So it was I feel he knows when it would be advantageous to use
when
them.
it would work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 'tis the season for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay, so let's move on to the third segment today, because we're such liturgical beings.
Yeah, we are.
And the right stuff today. Well, of course, I've already talked about the fact that you should be attending Mass.
Yes.
So don't forget. But we had a couple of things that we didn't get to last week because we had so many of them. And one of them came about right after the podcast last week, that over this past week we celebrated the 51st anniversary of Sacrosanctum Concilium.
Yay!
If you don't know what Sacrosanctum Concilium is, you don't know Vatican II.
The document on liturgy.
Exactly. It is the document that basically changed our liturgy, but not changed our liturgy. Sort of like brought us back to the beginning. And God, I wish I had that clip from Joe Remy, because that would have been, felt like it's been going on in my head like this as we've been recording this. Let's start at the very beginning.
Yes, it's a very good place
to start.
Yes, it is. But if you ever want to, and I believe Pray Tell, the blog, they were reading this piece by piece.
Yes.
Michael Jonkis was leading, wasn't it?
Michael Jonkis was posting it, and he still is. He just waits longer between postings because there's so much else going on.
Yeah. If you should go over to praytell.com. Is it .com? Yeah, I think it is. And check that out. Because I'm gonna have to go back now and make sure it's.
Yeah, it's always interesting to read, to go back and read about the various articles, and we've been marching through one article at a time.
And yes, it can be a little bit heavy.
Yeah, but it's been very enlightening, I think.
Yeah, because to look at the document that, to look at the actual words of the council versus how some interpretation has taken place.
And sometimes also to sit and read a document with church speak. Sometimes, it's like it goes in one ear and out the other. When you take one article at a time and you discuss it, you have it presented to you, and there's some discussion in the presentation, and then you have people talk about it. It kind of makes it stick in your head a little more than just reading right through.
Yeah, as somebody who had to study it,
Yeah.
in theology school, it's a little bit different the way he's doing it, and I like it
Yeah.
because I think it's more accessible to folks who don't do the theospeak.
Sure.
But it's an important document. If you ever want to take it on, I would absolutely suggest, because you'll get some insight as to why we do what we do now and what the Council Fathers were looking for in the first place.
Yeah.
And yes, you can interpret it into your own little, gee, my parish does X, Y, and Z. But don't go there. Look at what the Council Fathers were looking for, and you'll see that it takes a long time to accomplish something like this. So 51 years in the 51 years in church time.
Yes, in church time, it's not long at all.
It's like 1,000 years in another time.
Yes, as
That's the
Peter
second
said.
we also have a new head of the Congregation for Divine Worship, and that, I guess, that seat had been vacant for a while, and there's been I don't know, how do you say? I don't want to say Russian roulette, but there's been
jockeying for position.
There you go.
There has been musical chairs at the Vatican.
However you want to say it.
And this Cardinal Sarah, or Sarah, I'm not sure. He is another African, I believe. It is not a woman, okay? Was in charge of what's called the Cor Unum, which is the charitable arm of the Vatican, and we're not sure he knows much about liturgy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a degree in it. He could be just warming the seat for the time being. Not sure, but God works in mysterious ways, and I would, like to see what happens with somebody who isn't a degreed liturgist.
Yeah.
In the seat for the time being. Maybe things will be answered in a more common sense way. Maybe they won't. I don't know. But we have a Jesuit Pope, and there are lots of jokes about Jesuits not being liturgists.
Being what?
Not being liturgists.
Oh, okay.
And I would say my brief time among the brethren when I was going my master's degree would bear that out 75% of the time.
Aha.
However, I was taught by a really great Jesuit liturgist by the name of Father Peter Fink, and I will tell you that he was a good liturgist. So they're there.
There's always exceptions.
Oh yeah, there are always exceptions to the rule. And I had some friends who were coming up, becoming priests at the time, who were also good liturgists as Jesuits. So it's not always the case with Jesuits. You have a Jesuit Pope. So it's not going to be a large emphasis on it. Emphasis will be in other places, and we've seen that already.
Yes.
So, but just know that we have a new man on sitting in the seat, and.
But it seems to me that even though emphasis is in other places, it spills over into the liturgy. The attitude spills over into the liturgy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think everything that we do as a church bears it out one way or another in our worship.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of tough when you, again, talking about trying to connect the dots, which is what I do for a living, trying to connect the dots. It's kind of hard.
I try to connect the notes.
Well, you connect the notes, I connect the dots. But what I find is that there is such a disconnect between not just the world and our worship, but even our religious education and our worship.
Yeah, worship,
Which is why, I teach confirmation on Monday nights, and Monday night, it's the feast day. My confirmandi are going to Mass.
And they should.
Because I can't be sitting down there teaching them apart from what's going on upstairs. I just can't do that.
Exactly.
That I would rather take a shorter lesson downstairs.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Than
but look at the lesson that you're giving them.
Right. That it all starts here.
Yeah.
It all starts here. You know, you're baptized in a liturgy, whether it's at Mass or you're not just throwing water. It's a process.
Yeah.
It's actually written out, and there's a formula, and it all starts with this. You know, and this is what helps to keep you going. This
Right.
familiar ritual that, yes, you think may be boring after a while. What does it do for me? Type of thing. I'm going to try to teach that before I go on to their regular lesson.
Yeah.
Important that they take that lesson, and I hope many of them don't think that they can skip the first half hour or 35 minutes because it's a Mass. And they're
No,
gonna
they can't.
They'll be, well, they can. But we'll
They
see.
can?
I am taking a big gamble here by doing
Okay.
what I'm doing, but I can't not do it. It would be wrong of me because I could go to Mass anytime I want to for the Holy Day,
Yeah,
but they may not get that chance.
well, that's right.
You know, our Mass schedule is 6:30 at night, right when my class starts. There was no way I could do anything else but.
No, there's no way you could do anything else. Take them.
Nope. So there
Take
go.
them to church.
But it's a
They-
natural progression that you would do that in my mind. What
Yeah.
else would you do? Bring them to church. Yeah.
Well, again, if you're, and it shouldn't just. This is where, and I have to say this: I'm an anomaly when it comes to being a religious educator because I started out as a musician and a liturgist,
Mm-mm.
and most educators are not.
Mm-mm.
And I see the wedding, the marriage of catechesis and liturgy.
Yes.
And I've seen the disconnect when you don't do that.
Sure.
When you create a separate, making sure that every kid goes to religious education, but you're not putting the emphasis on getting to Mass.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's like a ship without a rudder. So you've got to have both, which is why in generations we do that. Every one of these generations months has a Mass component that they have to be at. So
Well, we don't have generations, much to our detriment, but Mass is built into religious education.
right. And yet you're one of the, I hate to say it, that's become more few and far between.
Yeah. But one group goes to 8:30 Mass and then they have their class after that. And the other group arrives at 8:30 and has their class and then goes to 10:30 Mass.
There you go. That's the way to do it,
Yeah.
to be able to do that type of thing. But not a lot of people are putting when you have class during the week, how do you do that?
Well, you don't. Yeah.
Exactly.
You
So
don't.
I'm an anomaly. I know it.
Well, we all try to do the best we can.
Yeah, that's all we can ask. Okay, we have one thing left.
Here comes big fun. We're gonna have it now.
We're going to have some big fun because we had some funeral foibles this week. And if you were on Facebook, you did encounter one of them, but not if you were on our Facebook page. You had to be on
No.
Linda's personal page.
You have to be one of my friends.
Yeah, you had to be one of her friends to get that. But both Nancy and Linda have had some foibles, so I'm going to turn it over to them and let them share you can't make this stuff
Can't
up.
make this stuff up.
And
No.
mine is short and sweet, so I'll go real quick because I'd love to listen to your story. I love it.
Okay, go ahead.
Mine was a personal faux pas in that I'm singing at the funeral. We get to the part that the Eucharistic prayer, and I'm all set up. I've got my music in front of me, even though I can do these things in my sleep. And it's the Holy Holy from creation, and it's in front of me. And I start singing the old version before the new.
Oh.
Holy, holy,
Yes.
holy, the host.
Yeah.
Host.
It's so easy to do. I'm sorry, but it
But
is.
that's the first time I've done that, and it's
Ah.
2 years down the line now.
Yeah,
And
well,
that's why.
you know why? Because you're comfortable enough now to let your mind
Yeah,
wander.
exactly. And
And
that's exactly what happened. That's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. The mind wandered. So that was very minor, but I love Linda's story, so
No.
please go.
No,
Yeah, she was caught in the time warp.
oh yes. But yeah, so I had a funeral early in the week, Monday, as a matter of fact, and my job, as well as to provide the music for the funeral, my job is to light the charcoal in the back during the homily, because many of our acolytes are uncomfortable with it. So I go in the back and I light the charcoal and I put it in the thurible, but I leave the cap off the thurible so that the charcoal will catch some air and get going nice and strong.
Right.
So I'm sitting back there while Father is finishing his homily, and he's almost finished. I could practically deliver his funeral homily. I've heard it so many times.
Oh.
So I know he's within a couple sentences of finishing the homily, and I hear pow, and the charcoal exploded in the thurible.
Ah.
So I'm looking, half of it is on the table next to the sink where the thurible is resting.
Mm-hmm.
A quarter of it is still in the little container, and the rest of it is on the floor in a million little sparks. So we have carpet in the sanctuary. So I'm back there doing this weird dance, trying to stomp out these little, and it's not working because the carpet is very textured, and so the sparks have gotten into the lower parts of the carpet.
Yep.
So we have these little teeny tiny 3-ounce cups. So here I am with a thimble, trying to put a fire out with a thimble. I turn the water on and I'm dumping these little cupfuls onto the rug. And then I hear there's nothing going on out there. So it's like, oh, Lord, they're finished the prayer of the faithful, and I'm supposed to be out there. So I go running out, pick up my guitar, and I'm getting ready to go into and I catch the pastor's eye, and the deacon happened to be at this funeral. And I said, send Al back because the sacristy's on fire. So, Al goes back. He gathers up the pieces of the thing, puts another charcoal in, and makes sure that all the sparks are out on the rug. And he comes back out with a big grin on his face and assures me that the sacristy is no longer on fire.
Yeah. And
That was fun.
we can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't make this stuff up, I mean, what are the chances? And the fact that I was still in the sacristy, if that had happened while I had already gone back out,
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
That was worrisome.
That could have been that could have been difficult.
From
Because
now on, I'm sticking the thurible in the sink.
no. Take it from the one who got a degree in thuribles and candle wax.
Smells and bells.
Smells and bells, you got it. Just put the cap back on it.
Yeah,
Because the holes in there will give you enough air so that if it pops, it'll stay inside.
It'll stay inside the thurible, yeah.
So let it.
They'll come back and get it eventually.
Well, you know what you can do too is you can put the cap back on it, and if you want to get it going a little bit, get it swinging.
Well, I swing it before I put it in. I kind of like wave it back and forth over the sink, and get it going, and then stick it back in the thurible. But actually, what I wind up doing is putting the top back on before I go back out. So.
Yeah, just put the top back on it, because if she pops, then
she pops in the thurible.
The thing is that if you don't know about the charcoal that we use for this type of thing, it is laced in gunpowder.
Yeah.
So that is what is is making the charcoal burn is the layer on top. It's usually scored as a star,
Yeah.
and that star has has gunpowder on it. So when you
Now we find out.
it takes
Now
off.
they tell us.
That's what it is.
Well, you can tell by the way it lights.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When you
Oh,
hold
yeah.
the flame to it, it goes,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Gunpowder.
Yeah.
Ever so slightly, but
Yeah.
that's the chemical reaction. So it's been known to kind of, if it gets just right, it can pop itself, pop the whole thing itself.
well, and all the time I've been doing this is the first time it ever happened.
Mm.
Hey,
So-
this is the first time for everything.
Yes, there is.
As I told Linda after this, I have the story of the Pascal candle.
The exploding Pascal candle, yes.
Floating Pascal candle. And that was because the Pascal candle, when they made this particular Pascal candle, there was a defect in it. There were air bubbles
Mm.
or water bubbles. We're not sure which one it was. So when it would hit a pocket, it would pop like a Roman candle. So in the sanctuary, you would see wax would be going all over the place. So yeah, we had to send it back.
I guess.
And this was like Easter Sunday morning.
Wow.
It was fine. No, it wasn't even Easter Sunday. It was the second week of Easter. 'Cause it burned for the vigil.
Burned down, yeah.
When it got to the pockets, then we're seeing all this stuff.
Yeah.
My pastor's looking at it going, "What the?"
Whoa.
It was just exploding like it was July 4th rather than Easter. So, and these things happen.
They
Yes,
do.
they do.
Yeah, they're
I
all.
just thought it was hysterical. I'm back there doing this weird dance, trying to stomp out all the flames. No, I mean all the sparks.
Well, now you know why we don't put carpets in churches.
Yeah, or you shouldn't put carpets in churches.
That's why it's marble, or concrete, or wood. 'Cause
Something.
wood will even stop that faster than a fiber will.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dense wood, little sparks like that aren't going to do a darn thing.
But that was just. When I got home, I was like laughing. I thought,
What
oh,
can you do,
man.
right?
Well, if you have any funny foibles like that happen in your parish, please let us know. We would love to hear some more because we want to know that we're not alone in this. So as we ask for anything else, MondayMorningCatholic@gmail.com is where you can email us. You can put it up on the Facebook page for everybody to get a good giggle. Facebook.com/Monday Morning Catholic. Thank you. We are over 100 likes.
Yay!
Yes, we are so happy. We finally made it.
How did that happen? I noticed several people signed up this week.
I have a feeling it was Bernadette.
Oh, okay.
Bernadette
That's okay.
was telling people at her Thanksgiving dinner, "Hey."
Go Bernadette.
So, thank you for let your friends know if you like this show. Let your friends know.
Yeah.
We don't want to be doing it for ourselves because, gee. You can also leave us comments at MondayMorningCatholic.net, and of course,
Here's my number, so call me maybe.
774-955-0659 will give you the voice feedback line, which does get used occasionally.
Okay.
Well, we miss Stephen.
Yes.
We wish Stephen were here. Next week, hopefully, we will get Stephen here if we have to change our schedule. So those of you who do watch the show live, and some of you do, there's a few of you hardy souls that will watch this live. We might be recording actually on Monday.
Yeah.
Next week. We're not
We'll
sure
see.
yet. It will depend on people's funeral schedules.
Yes, that's right.
So that'll all depend on that because I'm working on Sunday, so it would be a late night for me anyway if we decide to do it. But so hopefully we'll get Stephen back, and we are working on our guest list, so we should have some guests fairly soon that will join this menagerie,
Mhm.
and it will be fun. Hopefully,
Fun.
hopefully we'll get one for Advent. If not, definitely for around Christmas time, I hope.
Okay.
I've had some big fun today. How about you folks?
Oh
Big
yeah.
fun. Big fun.
Big fun. big, big fun. But we thank you, as always, for joining us. Again, we do this for the new evangelization. We try to get out some information and a few laughs along the way. We hope you stick with us as we continue this journey. Of course, we always thank God for keeping us healthy, happy, and together as we do our ministry. And we're just glad that you're here to share in part of it. So for Linda Reed, Nancy Smith, and myself, Joanne Mercier, thank you so much for being with us. God bless, and ciao for now.
Bye.